I did have aspirations to be an opera singer. Maybe one day I will be. I'm young.
Minnie Julia Riperton, born November 8, 1947, died July 12, 1979. In the history of soul music, few singers ever carried a voice as rare and unforgettable as Minnie Riperton. Known as the Queen of the Whistle Register, she possessed a 5-octave range that allowed her to move from warm lows into a high flute-like tone that sounded almost superhuman. If you've ever heard her 1975 classic Lovin You, you've heard that gift in its purest form. The song remains one of the most recognizable ballads of its era, with its gentle piano chords, playful bird calls, and Riperton's soaring runs that feel both intimate and magical. It was the track that made her a household name and the one that, for better or worse, came to define her career. But Minnie Riperton was always more than a single hit. Born and raised in Chicago, she began her career at Chess Records as a staff vocalist, supporting legends like Etta James and Fontella Bass before stepping into the spotlight herself. She became the lead singer of the experimental soul group Rotary Connection, where her voice floated above psychedelic arrangements that pushed boundaries in the late 60s. By the time she launched her solo career with Come to My Garden in 1970 and later Perfect Angel in 1974, she was creating music that refused to be neatly categorized. Equal parts soul, jazz, folk, and pop, tied together by a voice unlike any other. The problem was, the industry had no easy way to market someone this unique. While Perfect Angel gave her a worldwide hit in Lovin You, her following albums never reached the same heights. Audiences and record executives alike often struggled to see beyond the innocence of that one ballad, leaving her pigeonholed as a one-song artist despite a catalog full of experimentation and artistry. And then came the cruelest twist. In 1976, at just 28, Minnie was diagnosed with breast cancer. Instead of retreating, she kept recording, performing, and even became a national spokesperson for the American Cancer Society, bravely speaking about the disease in public at a time when it was rarely discussed. But 3 years later, in 1979, she passed away at only 31 years old. Minnie Riperton's story is one of brilliance interrupted, a career that felt like it was only beginning when it was tragically cut short. What happened to one of the more innovative and promising artists of her generation? Let's talk about it. Salute to Marlon Bellamy on IG for this request. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth Music. Let's get it. Take a minute to like, subscribe, and comment on who I should do next. Minnie Riperton was a singer and songwriter from Chicago, Illinois, whose path to music began in her teenage years at the Abraham Lincoln Center, where she trained in classical voice and opera. Her remarkable range soon earned her a place at Chess Records, recording background parts for artists such as mentioned Etta James, Fontella Bass, and also Ramsey Lewis and Bo Diddley. In 1967, she became the lead singer of Rotary Connection, a psychedelic soul group under Chess's Cadet Concept label, where her airy voice helped define their experimental sound. Her solo debut, Come to My Garden in 1970, produced by Charles Stepney, failed commercially but has since been hailed as a cult classic. By 1974, Riperton's Perfect Angel, executive produced by Stevie Wonder, delivered her breakthrough. Its standout ballad, Lovin You, reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in April 1975, establishing her as a singular force in music. Stunt #1, Lightning Didn't Strike Twice. For all the brilliance that defined Minnie Riperton's voice, her career is often remembered almost exclusively for one song, Lovin You. The 1975 ballad was more than a hit, it was a phenomenon. Stripped down to little more than electric piano, light instrumentation, and Riperton's glass-shattering soprano, the track stood out from everything else on the radio. It became a wedding favorite, a cultural touchstone, and the kind of crossover hit that labels dream of. Yet, as history has shown, when a career is branded so strongly by a single moment, it can both immortalize and imprison an artist. The success of Lovin You raised expectations that Riperton could consistently deliver songs with the same magic. But lightning rarely strikes twice in music. Subsequent singles like Inside My Love and Adventures in Paradise showcased her artistry, yet they failed to connect with mainstream audiences at the same level. Radio programmers were unsure of how to place her electric sound, which blended pop, soul, jazz, and folk. For some listeners, her daring use of a whistle register was a novelty. For others, it was an unmatched gift. But without a second major hit to reinforce her momentum, the industry began to place her as a one-song star. This reality wasn't a reflection of lack of talent. Riperton had plenty, but rather the impossible standards set by Lovin You. The song was so distinct, so untouchable, that it overshadowed everything she created afterward. Instead of allowing her catalog to grow naturally, comparisons to her one global hit became inevitable, creating pressure that limited her career trajectory. In this sense, the very song that gave her immortality also stunted her growth, cementing her as both unforgettable and unfairly underappreciated beyond that single. Stunt number 2, the industry didn't know how to market her. Minnie Riperton's voice was both her gift and her obstacle. In an industry that thrived on neat categories, Riperton defied them. She wasn't just an R&B singer, though her history at Chess Records and Rotary Connection tied her to soul. She wasn't strictly pop either, even though Lovin You proved she could top mainstream charts. Her albums carry touches of jazz, folk, and classical training with arrangements that leaned more toward artistry than commercial formula. This versatility gave her music depth, but left Epic Records unsure of how to best position her. In the mid-1970s, labels leaned heavily on image-driven marketing. Female soul singers were often packaged as glamorous divas, disco stars, or sleek pop crossovers. Riperton fit none of these molds. She was a wife, a mother of 2, and a soft-spoken artist who prioritized sincerity over spectacle. While that gave her work authenticity, it didn't translate into a marketable star profile executives knew how to sell. Albums like Adventures in Paradise in 1975 and Stay in Love in 77 offered strong material, yet without a defining crossover single, their chart presence stalled. Adventures did reach number 5 on the R&B chart, but without another Lovin You moment, her momentum faded. Complicating matters, her extraordinary range became both her identity and her cage. She was celebrated as the queen of the whistle register, but that narrative overshadowed her songwriting and collaborations with husband Richard Rudolph and respected producers like Charles Stepney. The industry reduced her to a technical marvel rather than promoting her as a well-rounded artist capable of creating full, timeless records. Ultimately, this lack of clear direction from Epic Records left Riperton straddling audiences without a defined base. The industry's inability to market someone so unique stunted her commercial reach, even while her artistry remained undeniable. Stunt number 3, a career cut short by illness. By the late 1970s, Minnie Riperton's career faced a challenge no artist could overcome: her health. In January 1976, she was diagnosed with breast cancer at just 28 years old. Rather than retreat from the spotlight, she chose to keep recording and performing while undergoing aggressive treatment, showing both courage and devotion to her craft. But the diagnosis inevitably altered her trajectory, limiting her ability to tour extensively, promote records with energy, or fully capitalize on the momentum she had built after Perfect Angel. Her illness also collided with a turbulent period in music. Disco was at its peak and radio competition was fierce. Riperton released Stay in Love in 1977 and Minnie in 1979, but her health left her unable to push these projects the way she might have otherwise. Without a major crossover single to sustain her, both albums fell short of mainstream expectations, despite containing strong material. Still, Riperton made inspiring appearances that revealed her strength and vulnerability. On The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson in 1979, she openly discussed her illness, and on Saturday Night Live, she delivered a moving performance that reminded audiences of her rare gift. These moments made her more beloved, showing an artist refusing to let illness silence her. In 1978, Riperton became the first celebrity spokesperson for the American Cancer Society, courageously giving a public face to a disease often kept private. She used her platform not only to sing but to advocate, inspiring many with her honesty. But despite the resilience, the toll was undeniable. On July 12, 1979, Riperton passed away at just 31 years old, only 2 months after the release of Minnie. Her death left her career unfinished, freezing her image in time. She's remembered as a luminous voice whose story ended far too soon. All in all, Minnie Riperton's story is one of breathtaking talent interrupted before its time. She possessed a 5-octave range that placed her among the rarest vocalists in history. With a whistle register so controlled, it earned her admiration and the nickname Queen of the Whistle Register. Her music could be tender, spiritual, playful, and experimental all at once, a reflection of an artist who never fit neatly into one category. Yet, because of this uniqueness, the industry often struggled to market her, and the towering success of Lovin You became both a blessing and a burden. Her untimely passing at 31 froze her in time as triumph and tragedy. Beyond her artistry, Riperton showed enormous bravery, becoming the American Cancer Society's first celebrity spokesperson and using her platform to raise awareness when the disease was rarely discussed publicly. Today, her influence echoes in singers who cite her as inspiration, ensuring her voice still soars in her absence. Salute, much respect, rest in peace to a legend. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth Music, and I'm out.